Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Make sure to hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons. Well, this is coming and you need to be prepared for it. What am I talking about? Well, this is a follow-up to a video I did 3 weeks ago titled, This is Intentional. It's part of a plan to control you. And so this video was about policies that are being implemented right now. And I believe the purpose of those policies is to lead to a cashless society, which we're going to talk about now. And in that previous video, it uploaded, I believe, right before Labor Day weekend in the United States. So I don't think as many people saw it. Some of the people missed that. Based on the comments I received, there were several objections. So it's very clear I didn't communicate that well enough. So let's look at what we're talking about. What are we talking about that's intentional? Well, it's this right here. This is from CNBC. It says shrink and theft losses near $1 billion at Lowe's. So one store. Here's how much they're costing other retailers. And we talked about retail theft is a $100 billion a year problem, according to the National Retail Association. And we are seeing more and more of these cases where things are being locked up. Sometimes items that really aren't even expensive, but maybe they're in need. Everybody needs them. They're small, they're easy to conceal, and so they're having to lock up just about everything now. Eventually the whole store will be locked up. But we're going to talk about why and how they're going to do that in just a moment. So it says, when they reported second quarter results, some companies like Target and Dick's Sporting Goods offered clues into how much shrink is costing them and squarely blamed theft. So shrink is the term they use for retail items that have been lost due to theft. Target lost about $219.5 million more to shrink during the 3 months ended July 29th than it did the previous year. Dick's lost about $27.1 million during the same 3 months, according to CNBC analysis. Meanwhile, Ulta and Foot Locker, which both blamed organized retail crime for losses in May, did not mention theft during their most recent results. So what they're talking about, organized retail theft, we're not talking about hijacking a truck on the way to the store. We're talking about these mobberies where mobs of people go into a store all at once, they take things and they walk out. And there are policies that have been implemented in various locations where the prosecutors have said, particularly in California, we're not going anything. A theft under the amount of $950 is considered a misdemeanor, and most of the prosecutors won't even prosecute that. So, and then you have the retailers themselves, their lawyers have implemented these policies telling their employees, don't do anything to try to stop the shoplifters because maybe you'll get hurt and you'll sue us, or maybe the shoplifter will get hurt and they'll sue us. So it's easier to just have them walk out. Also, some of those retailers have put policies in place that say don't call the police, because sometimes when you call the police, there's accusations of racial profiling and other things that cause them to not do that. Then the police are told, don't pursue people, right? Because you might cause a wreck, it might cause public harm. So all of these policies together are leading to this environment where many people don't feel any impediment to going and just taking what they want and walking out of the store with it. And I want to note, most of these people that are doing this are not violent. They're not confrontational. They just know, hey, if I can walk in and take it, why wouldn't I do that? So they don't have principles. They don't have values that would stop them from doing that. So the only thing that stops them is the punishment they might receive. So if that's taken away, they'll just go do it. But at the same time, not all of these people would necessarily assault a store clerk to take those things. There's just nothing to stop them from walking right out. So that's why they're doing it. So let's read on. It says, meanwhile, Ulta and Foot Locker, which both blamed organized retail crime for losses in May, did not mention theft during their most recent results. They only used the term shrink when discussing how it squeezed margins. Lowe's has some of the highest shrink numbers among companies analyzed by CNBC. It has blamed a range of factors for the losses. Sometimes it has said organized retail crime cut into profits, but in other cases it blamed weather-related damages. but they've always had weather-related damages. It says, during its second quarter earnings call with analysts, the company said shrink was in line with the year-ago period, but its annual securities filing offered more detail. The retailer revealed that its shrink in fiscal 2022 ballooned to $997 million, up from $796 million in 2021. So almost $1 billion has been lost by Lowe's and its shareholders due to retail theft. So why are all these policies being implemented? Because again, these policies make no sense. We're going to decriminalize shoplifting. We're going to put in these policies in place that we aren't, even if the shoplifters are somehow apprehended, we're not going to prosecute them. Why would you do that? I believe the reason they're doing this is to corral society into choosing their preferred solution. Because if you run one of these companies, there's a huge incentive. If you can be the executive or the employee that solves the $1 billion shrink problem at Lowe's, you can make a career for yourself. You can make a name for yourself. But the people who are implementing these policies, they understand what that solution is. And what is that preferred solution they're trying to corral society in? It is this right here. This is called Just Walk Out technology by Amazon. So we've seen some of this in the past. It combines some of the things like the Amazon One, which is this palm scanning technology. But this tells us how it works, and I want to focus on this because in the previous video, it was clear in the comments people did not understand how this works. So step 1, enter the store with your card or by hovering your palm over the Amazon One device. So you cannot enter the store until you have given them your payment information. Either it's been preloaded and linked to your palm, and there could be any other. This is how this particular Amazon technology works. Similar things could roll out with a proprietary technology with any retailer. Walmart could come up with its own solution. Maybe they scan your irises as you walk in. And before people go, I'd never do that, airports all over the country have already implemented this. We did a video on this 6 months ago or so about how you can skip the airport security line if you just go scan your retina, right? Walk through the field, because you're in their database and they know, you can board right on the plane. If you're willing to do that, you can get the convenience of being able to skip the long line, but you have to trade off your biometric information to the government in exchange for doing that. So here, you cannot enter the store until you've scanned in and they have your payment information or some sort of payment information, right? It says, step 2, shop the store and grab all you need from the shelves. So keep in mind, step 2 is really no different if you're a paying customer from if you're a thief or a shoplifter. They do the same thing. They grab all they need. And then step 3, go without stopping to check out. Now, what they don't mean go to the checkout. No, they mean simply go. You simply leave. You grab what you want and you leave. So steps 2 and 3 are the same for paying customers and shoplifting customers under today's methods of purchasing in retail. You simply pick up what you want and walk out with it. And so how does the store get paid? Well, up front, before you enter, they're getting your payment information. They're tracking you through the store. Cameras understand what you've taken off the shelf. So when you lift something up off of the shelf, there's sensors in the shelf that know what's been removed. There's cameras strategically placed throughout the store that study the items that you have in your cart, that you've taken off the shelf. And unless you put it back, if you put it back, they'll take it out of your virtual cart. But if you don't, it stays in your virtual cart. And when you walk out, you're charged, and they send you a receipt to your phone, your email, wherever you want that receipt to go to. So guys, make no doubt, and I'll pin this. You can watch more about this. I'll pin this at the top of the comments so you can go check it out and look at it. But we're going to look at how this really works in the real world now. And then we're going to talk about what is the next iteration. Because guys, have no doubt about it, this is what's coming. This is how they're going to push a cashless society. And they have to start in one way so that they can end up in another. It's called incrementalism or gradualism. So they're not going to roll out this massive change overnight. It's going to come step by step. And we're already several steps into the process, as we see here. So this Newsweek article says Whole Foods sparks boycott calls over controversial change. It says Whole Foods Market's new store in Washington, D.C. has earned the ire of some shoppers not happy with technology that requires them to scan a QR code to enter. The supermarket opened the 21,500 square foot store Glover Park location in February 2022. So over a year and a half ago, with a range of specialized features. The new store includes gates at multiple points during the shopping experience, which require a QR code to pass through. They're located at the entrance, at either end of the checkout, and at the exit. So this is several more steps than what we just read about in the Amazon Just Walk Out technology, where you only had to scan once to enter. It says the system replicates those seen at Amazon Fresh stores around the country. Whole Foods is a subsidiary of Amazon. So just known as Amazon's Just Walk Out technology, it was one of 2 Whole Foods stores to open in 2022 and feature the system. So we come down here and we see in this Wall Street Silver tweet a video of this Whole Foods in DC, and it says, "Is this the future of shopping? Whole Foods in Washington, D.C. requires you to 1, scan in before entering." So again, you cannot enter the store unless you're scanned in. 2, scan to enter checkout. 3, scan to leave the checkout. 4, scan to leave the store. Is this too much? And let me play this real quick, and you can look at some of these gates. Make sure the sound is off on this. Very controversial. Oh, it wasn't, but now it is. But here we see you have gates to enter the checkout area. They have gates to leave the checkout area, and then gates to actually leave the store. And so you have to scan through this whole process so they know who is entering the store, who is leaving the store, what they've taken while they're in the store. And I know there are several objections to this that we're going to address in just a moment, but let's read a little bit more on this, because one of those objections is going to be along these lines. It says, however, Whole Foods Market confirmed to Newsweek that it's not a requirement for all customers to use the Just Walk Out technology. It's an opt-in service. So many people would say, well, yeah, they have this for convenience, but you don't have to do it. Right, you don't have to do it now, right? That's the key point. Now, this is called incrementalism. So what they do, they roll this out. There are many people who have no problem with this. They see it as convenient. It's cool. It's high tech. Oh, isn't this so futuristic that I can just walk in, pick up what I want, and leave? The novelty of it, they like it. So most people, believe it or not, it's going to be the majority of people are going to opt right into this. And once they get enough people in it, then you'll find out, well, it was an opt-in before, but that's no longer the case. And you're going to see a lot of things change we're going to talk about in just a moment. It says if a customer prefers, they can shop the store using self-checkout. Whole Foods Market team members will be available to assist as needed, and customers can also check out at the customer service booth with Whole Foods Market team members. They added at this store, customers are greeted by a team member at the store's entry gates and can then choose if they want to shop using Just Walk Out technology or the self-checkout lanes. And, maybe these options to pay at customer service checkout won't ever completely go away. but it will be such a burden, right? Most people will sign up to this. You can wait in this line with 50 people in it and spend the next hour waiting to check out, or you can simply opt in and walk out of the store and save yourself an hour of time. Most people will choose the convenience. Either way, this helps prevent retail theft because remember, you cannot enter the store until you've given them a payment method. And then you can't, in this case, exit the store. And I think that will remain a requirement. I think steps 1 and 4 at this particular store will remain in place at all of these types of locations where they roll this out. Because guys, this is going to be everywhere in the near future. It says customers who do not want to be in the checkout line at the end of their shopping can skip it by using just walk out shopping to enter. And there are 3 ways to use the technology. In other words, if you don't want to wait, look at this long line. And we're going to make it long intentionally. We're going to make it very inconvenient for you to not use this technology and corral you into using that. They include by scanning the QR code in the Whole Foods Market or Amazon app, hovering their palm, using Amazon One, or inserting a credit card linked to their Amazon account. Then they shop like normal, and at the end use the same method as they entered to leave the store. Once they've left, they receive a digital receipt in the Whole Foods Market app. So here's the key, guys. As they say, you use the same method to enter and leave the store. They're controlling access points to the store, the point of entry and the point of exit. And you're going to have to give some sort of identifying information, whether it's your palm, your QR code, whatever, that includes payment information in order to do that. So these mobberies where people just walk into the store and then they grab stuff off the shelf and walk out, that's not going to happen with the system put in place. Now, is it going to stop all theft? No. Thieves are very creative and they can certainly get violent, but the problems we're seeing, 90% of the problems we're seeing with retail theft, again, are not violent people who are going to assault store workers, destroy property in order to get away. They simply know that these policies have been put in place, that they can just go in, take what they want, leave, not have to pay for it. And so they go, why wouldn't I do that? So they go do that, and it's led to $1 billion or close to $1 billion in losses for Lowe's and $100 billion for all retailers, according to the National Retailers Association. So again, look at this picture here of these barriers that they have. And one of the objections is going to be, well, you pick the stuff up and you just hurdle over the barrier. What's the problem? That's true right now, right? And again, you would have to carry that stuff while hurdling, which is going to be harder. That's going to deter some people, but is it really hard to imagine that this barrier right here, as we're talking about incrementalism, this barrier somewhat comes to reflect something like this one. Not long after they get everybody to buy into the system. And again, I don't think it'll be to this degree. You can't fit a shopping cart through here. But let's imagine that this barrier goes floor to ceiling. And then instead of having just this one barrier right here, well, we add a second one there, and a third one here, and a fourth one there. And they all 4 have to go up for you to enter and push your cart through. So if you've got those sort of barriers, and you've got someone watching to make sure nobody skips the barrier, nobody can enter the store without giving their payment information, then it becomes near impossible for anybody. It would become impossible for anyone to nonchalantly walk into a store, pick something up, and walk out without paying for it. That would become impossible. Now, they could try to destroy the barrier. Again, now you're at a different level of criminal enterprise. You're talking about destruction of property, assault, all sorts of different crimes that under today's policies would be prosecutable. And of course, the public would probably demand that. But This is where this is going, guys, because there's so much at stake. Again, $1 billion at Lowe's. We're not talking $1 billion just in lost revenue. That's $1 billion in profit. Because if that hadn't been stolen, that $1 billion loss goes away, even if the inventory is still sitting there. It doesn't have to go down as a loss immediately. So $1 billion to be saved by implementing this. Do we really think that it's not going to be implemented? And again, people have already been conditioned in subways and metros to use these types of turnstile systems. So is it really hard to believe that people are going to say, well, yeah, I will do that, right? And it's not, because we're seeing this roll out, not just at Whole Foods, but at other stores. Talked about this in the previous video. This says Amazon's invasive tech is coming to this adults-only store. It came to a liquor store in nearby Seattle. It says Amazon has developed an uncanny knack for delivering conveniences we didn't even know we needed. Right? Some customer, again, we didn't even know we needed it. So why are they pushing this? Well, because they want this cashless society where they can track everything. And so that's where we're going to end up. It says some customers are concerned, however, that the tech giant may have gone too far with its recent rollout of Just Walk Out, a service intended for frictionless in-person shopping. At participating stores, often Amazon's, like Amazon Go or Amazon Fresh, but increasingly at third-party shops. So others are licensing out this technology from Amazon. Just Walk Out tech enables customers to pick up what they need and simply leave when they're done. There's no need to wait in a line, fight with a self-checkout sensor, make pleasantries about the weather with a cashier, or hold up a line because you forgot a loaf of bread, but half your items have already been loaded on the belt. Like the output of any good tech giant, Amazon's Just Walk Out is made possible by leveraging a lot of data and artificial intelligence. All that's required of a customer is a simple scan of your phone when you enter and again when you exit. So again, they're controlling the access points, entry and exit. They didn't control the exit. Like you would have no problem with people who walked in the entrance walking out the back. They need to control the exit to keep the thieves from entering through the exit. And so they're going to control that point as well. It says behind the scenes, a lot is going on to make this streamlined process possible. Each store uses myriad sensors and cameras to identify each customer, what they're taking off shelves, and what they walk out with. It's a data goldmine, and plenty of folks claim it's convenient. Still others complain that it makes going to the grocery store unnecessarily invasive. So they mention here it's a data goldmine. So we see the incentive for Amazon and other stores to roll this out. As with these sensors, they can tell, well, you had your hand on that product, but you didn't take it. You didn't buy it. Why? What can we do to nudge you to buy it next time? What incentives can we offer? Maybe we offer you a one-time discount and you try that and then you become a regular buyer of that product. We could sell that to the company that makes that product and say, you might have a lifetime customer. This customer almost tried your product. Right? So you can see the endless possibilities for data mining that they mention with this. So retailers are going to move forward with this. It's not just theft that will be eliminated, but that knowledge that will come with it as well. It says the process is relatively controlled in Amazon stores, so new third-party shopping centers are trying their hands with the nifty new technology. One of those third parties happens to be a liquor store in Seattle. Downtown Spirits recently opened a 4,200 square foot facility in the Pacific Northwest city, also home to Amazon's beginnings, and began leveraging the technology in mid-August. The feedback has been mixed. One customer, upon hearing how the new technology worked, walked out, according to GeekWire. Others ranged from mildly curious to unconcerned, so long as the new system didn't affect their booze run. So again, we mentioned before, most people don't care. They don't see the dangers we see in this. They just, hey, it makes it more convenient and easier, I'm going to do it. And they'll go ahead and do it. And yes, there are people who are going to say, I'm not going to do that. But if they get enough people in, eventually you may be forced to do that because you aren't going to have any other option. And we're going to talk about that more in just a moment. And so here we have somebody who uploaded a video about it, but it says, and while the new checkout process doesn't seem to set customer pulses racing, it's having a big impact on staff. Downtown Spirit says that when it was using the traditional checkout process, shoplifting had been a growing issue. Fewer cameras and sensors paired with a staff spread too thin serving other customers made the store an easy target for theft. That's the key, guys. We'll talk about that in just a second. It says the old store was a traditional brick and mortar store. Anybody could walk in. Shoplifting occurred, the owner, Marcus Warren, said. Because we no longer have to look over shelves and keep a strict watch on everyone shopping throughout the store, we're able to build shelves higher and closer together, which means we're able to squeeze more into a smaller space. That means they're able to lower their overall fixed cost at this business. They can have a smaller footprint, fit more inventory into that, have less shrinkage because less theft is occurring. And what did he say? What did it say here? An easy target for theft at the old store. So the traditional bricks and mortar stores are going to be easy targets for theft. They are right now, but compared to the Amazon Just Walk Out technology being implemented in a store, well, you're going to see that the thieves move on and focus on those traditional bricks and mortars. So sure, you could try to rob the store, but it's a lot harder. So you're going to pick an easier target, which means that those other stores aren't saving on their retail footprint. They aren't able to fit more inventory in the space. They are experiencing the shrinkage. In fact, the shrinkage goes up because as these other stores become less of a target, they become more of a target. And so you're going to see stores that don't implement this technology unable to compete in the marketplace. They're not going to be able to survive. They're going to die off. So all the retailers are going to adopt either this technology or something very similar to it, something that controls your access points, your entry and your exit to the store. And you can't go in either one. You can't enter without a payment method that they can charge to, making it impossible to walk into the store, pick something up, and walk out without paying for it. Now, again, it's not going to eliminate theft, guys. I'm not making that claim in any way. You know, you could be working in the warehouse and find a way to steal things. There's other technologies that will be put in place to guard against that. One of the objections that occurred in the last video was, well, yeah, but they'll wait outside and beat you up and take the stuff anyway. Okay, first, we just talked about how most of this is occurring because of the policies they're rolling out. Probably 90% of that is nonviolent criminals just taking advantage of the system. So they're unlikely to assault people. You can assault people now and take their things. Is that really going to stop a retailer like Lowe's from implementing a system that could save them $1 billion a year in profit? $1 billion. I don't think so. I think they're going to say, well, if crime against our customers in the parking lot after they've shopped here becomes an issue, we'll address that separately. But we're not going to let that stop us from implementing this technology that's going to save us $1 billion a year in profit. They're going to implement that. So again, all of this adds up to this is where retail is going. And I believe these policies were intentionally put in place to corral these business owners into choosing this solution because they want a cashless society. They want control. This is part of the incrementalism of putting into place, well, the whole mark of the beast system eventually, but central bank digital currencies, all these other things. And guys, keep in mind, all of this is happening. There's no emergency right now. What happens when China invades Taiwan or the Russia-Ukraine conflict escalates from where it is right now, and we have supply chain issues. Let's say there's problems with food, and they have to implement rationing of food and other supplies. Do you think the public, we've seen that over the last 3.5 years, how emergency measures will be rolled out by the government, and most of the public, the majority of the public, will vociferously push for compliance with these emergency measures. So if there's only so much food to go around, if you have a certain food ration, how many people do you think are going to say, oh, it's okay to have grocery stores the way they are now and people can just pick stuff up and walk out with it because I don't want to deal with this Amazon just walk out technology that's an invasion of my privacy and might be used against me. No, they're going to say, yes, if that will keep that theft so that I can have that food I need, we need to do what's best, right? And they're going to push that, and they're going to push compliance with that. They're going to push stores to comply with that. No doubt about it, guys. This is where this is headed. I believe wholeheartedly this is intentional. These policies are put in place to guide people, to push people, to corral people, to herd people into making specific decisions to implement these technologies that will be used to control us and be used against us. Guys, all of this is setting the stage for the mark of the beast system. Again, it's not the mark of the beast. That occurs at the midpoint of the tribulation. But for that to happen, the stage has to be set first. The infrastructure has to be put in place. And we're seeing this cashless society come about right in front of us. And I think again, I don't know what you think. Leave your comments below. But we're seeing these same ridiculous policies decriminalizing shoplifting occurring in the United States, in Canada, in almost every country in Europe, in Australia. So we're seeing these things happen all over the world at the same time. Why? What is the agenda behind this? I believe it's so that they can push this technology and create a cashless society because they want to control you. And so at the beginning of this, I said, this is coming. Be prepared. How can you prepare? Well, the way you need to prepare is you need to make sure that you have a personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, because Jesus is coming back, guys. When, I don't know, but we know we are getting near to that time because we see the signs Jesus and the prophets said to look for. This is one of them. The book of Revelation tells us that the system will come about that enables the Antichrist to control every buy-sell transaction on the face of the earth. We're seeing this cashless society that many people who were students of the Bible said for decades was coming. Now we're seeing it come. We're seeing it arrive. We're seeing it set into place. So if you want to prepare for this, there's no other way to prepare for this, guys, other than to know Jesus. If even people who already know Jesus, they might say, well, what can we do to make sure we're not forced into the system? Guys, nothing. The Bible tells us eventually the system will come into place. We can push back against it, and we should do that. We should stand for righteousness and truth. But at the end of the day, again, if the grocery stores all require this, or you can't shop in them and get food, how realistic is it to say, well, I'm going to hold out, I'm going to grow all the food I need in my backyard, right? Maybe some people can do that. That's great. But that's unrealistic for the large majority of people out there. So you need to the best way to prepare for this, guys, is to know Jesus, have a saving grace relationship with Jesus where you're a sinner and he died on the cross as payment for your sins so that you are forgiven. And when the rapture of the church occurs, you'll be a part of that, and you'll miss the worst of all of this. Again, you'll miss the mark of the beast system. How many parts of all of this set up to that and staging for that we're going to go through, I have no idea. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Are you going to use these technologies voluntarily? Yeah, we saw in a previous video where a woman walked into Whole Foods and she paid for her groceries just by a palm scan. and she was just laughing and giggling because she thought it was so amazing, this novel technology. Can you believe that? I just paid for my groceries by swiping my hand over the scanner. She has no idea where this is leading, or she would not be laughing. So, what are your thoughts? Leave your comments below. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And God willing, I will see you on Monday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.